So if you're looking at Uber's gross bookings of $115 billion in 2022, 2023 is probably going to be come in, or 2024 is probably going to come in like $140 billion or so. So we'll use around $140 billion. Now, let's say Tesla can bring in a gross margin of 60%. Okay, so let's times that by 60%. You're looking at $84 billion. Divide that by 3.3 billion shares outstanding, potentially $42 of EPS for a full year. Conservatively, let's say $30 per year is your earnings by 2030. Times that by maybe 75 times multiple, you could be looking at Tesla stock over $2,000 by 2030. Tesla stock has made progress in leaps and bounds towards AI. FSD V12 has recently just came out, and from what we hear, it's drastically being improved. You have also seen Optimus in just over the course of about 12 months go from hardly able to walk in a straight line to doing yoga to folding t-shirts. What if I told you Tesla stock is a massively underappreciated AI potential? And over the next coming months, the markets might start to realize this, adding dramatically to Tesla's value. While the markets seem to be focused on hardware-related AI, like GPUs. Well, what if I told you over the next coming months, the markets might start to realize Tesla is maybe the only real-world AI play there is right now. When the markets realize this about Tesla, for lack of a better word, Tesla stock is going to the moon. And before we get deeper into this video, let me know down below in the comment section, who has another real-world use case for AI besides Tesla? I mean, I come up with crickets. Literally nothing. If you ask Wall Street, they're going to say, I don't know. It's coming, though. Of course it's coming. But who has it now? And who has the first mover advantage in the two biggest things that there could possibly be related to AI? Cars that drive themselves and humanoid robots. It doesn't get bigger than that. Let's be honest. There will be nothing that is bigger than those two things, because they could add so much productivity to our lives. The first thing that's important to understand is you have to take accountability for where you are. Any successful person ever, one of the reasons why they're successful is because they hold themselves accountable. I'm not going to hold you accountable for where Tesla stock is right now. That's obviously foolish. It's Elon's fault. It's the Tesla management team's fault. They have been very pessimistic, probably for their own reasons, around the potential of AI and the progress that they are making. When you actually look at things on face value, just think about this. How much has full self-driving improved over the years? Dramatically. Yet, every time we have an earnings call, the Tesla team really doesn't talk about full self-driving at all, or not in the ways in which the markets would like. They talk nothing about pricing, about future adoption. They talk nothing about what the markets want to hear. In the short term, that's a bit of a, what are you doing, Elon? What are you doing, Tesla team? But in the longer term, it's this aha moment. Once we're actually there and FSD is, comparable to the best driver out on the road that never makes a mistake, that never gets into an accident, never does anything wrong, that's your aha moment. That is the moment in which robotaxis become a reality and could happen fairly quickly. And I don't think any of us are going to make the argument that if your car could drive for you perfectly, if a vast majority of the cars out on the roads could drive perfectly for everyone, at least when people wanted them to, that would not be a huge value created to society. Now, I learned a long time ago, the richest people in the world are the richest people in the world because they provide the most value to society. Wealth is a direct correlation to value provided to to society. Think about anyone that is super wealthy out there. Jeff Bezos, what did he do? He made it so you can get a product sometimes overnight online. You never have to leave your house and go to a store if you don't want to. That saves you time, which adds to other things you can do in your life, right? You can play with your kids for an extra hour instead of going to the store. How valuable is that? Well, apparently as valuable as Jeff Bezos is worth today. What about Elon? Revolutionizing EVs, arguably saving the planet, and helping create a multi-planetary species, which is humans, obviously, if you didn't catch that. How much is that a value to society? Well, long term, it's going to be a huge value. So Elon has done a lot of value already to society. He's been rewarded appropriately for that. Think about even Zuckerberg. As much as, people don't like him, and I don't think too fondly about the guy, he has created a platform in which you can stay connected to your family members, which you can make an argument that's actually a net negative for society, but it still is a helpful benefit to some people that maybe don't have access to see their family members on a day-by-day basis. That did add some value to people's lives. So when you think about this in that concept, if you could have cars drive for you, that is going to dramatically enhance the productivity rates of humans and add a lot of extra time to people's lives. It will also literally save lives, as 50,000 people die of car accidents roughly every year. Then you could also look at something like a robo-taxi service. Same concepts that I just mentioned apply, but that actually has a monetary benefit to Tesla. You can look at Uber and look at how dramatically Uber's stock has went up over the past, 12 months or so. And I mean, it's been impressive. Tesla's robo-taxi service could be much larger than Uber. And Uber currently has a market cap of $161.36 billion. Now, Tesla and a robo-taxi service is going to be heavy on the margins, whereas Uber is not. So a robo-taxi service could have 80+% gross margins. It could be better than Nvidia's gross margins, which are currently at about 74%. To put that into context, you could see a lot of profits coming to Tesla in a couple of years. Whenever really the robotaxi network launches, I think conservatively, 2 to 3 years from now. And to that point, it's almost like the markets don't even see what Tesla is doing right now. The potential value that is there, especially over the past couple of months, has really been foreshadowed by Tesla's margins decreasing in the, near term and what we've seen over the past couple of months via Tesla cutting prices. It's almost like markets have completely forgotten about the best AI trade in the world, which is Tesla. And this is not even considering humanoid robots and what kind of production and value that could add for people. Now, you can make an argument that maybe the average person would not want a humanoid robot in their home doing work for them. Sure, that's a little creepy at this point. You could make an argument that some people would. But inevitably, once you create the actual software for a robot to do tasks for you, you can create other products similar to that for specific tasks, like washing the dishes or cleaning your home or doing yard work. Those are just simple kind of things. That's on a more mass market basis, right? Where everyone could benefit from that. There could be other tasks as well. Feel free to let me know down below in the comment section. What would you want a humanoid robot or any kind of robot to do for you? Think about what kind of time that could save you and add to your life to, again, spend time with your kids, go on a vacation, go do this or that. But another real world value for humanized robots would be the lack of workers that we have today. There's still about 8 million jobs, 8.5, almost 9 million jobs that are unaccounted for, that need filled. And as Elon Musk said, that could essentially add infinite productivity to the world, which could mean GDP could be unlimited. I mean, maybe I'm the only one that thinks it's just crazy that the markets have completely forgotten about Tesla's real-world AI. But I will tell you right now, that will start to shift. How that does start to shift, a lot of it could come down to the management team, Elon and Tesla. For whatever reason, I still don't know, Elon and the management team have really not been talking up AI the way that they used to. Maybe that's for a reason. Maybe it makes sense to underdeliver or underpromise and overdeliver, right? That typically makes sense if you're thinking about this on a longer term basis. Well, again, you could make an argument that that's probably what Tesla and Elon are doing right now. Now, as far as AI in general, some people think AI is a bubble. Some people think, AI is never going to go anywhere. I think AI in the areas in which it's focused on right now is kind of bubbly, right? Just semiconductors, seeing a lot of this AI froth, and Microsoft to some extent, kind of bubbly. Microsoft is the only other company that is actually bringing in some revenue based on AI, but that's pretty limited to software and commercial kind of customers. That's not really a mass market thing. I don't use AI or Microsoft Copilot. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't as well, especially outside of your job. You're probably not going to use that at all. But beyond that, it's really just AI hardware that is seeing the froth right now, like your GPU providers. This is kind of like, but beyond Microsoft, really, it's just NVIDIA, SMCI, your semiconductors that are seeing this froth. So I want to be very clear. I believe AI is not a bubble, but I believe the areas in which AI is being bought right now are kind of bubblicious, like your GPU providers. But I don't think AI as a concept is a bubble. I do think there's going to be different waves to this, whereas right now it's the first wave. It's the first inning of your baseball game. It's the GPUs. What's the next wave going to be? Is the next wave going to be data-related kind of AI projects like a Palantir or, some other data providers, a Datadog, companies like that? Maybe. Or inevitably, it could just be real-world AI, because one day investors are going to say, hey, who is actually going to benefit longer term from real-world AI? Who is the most set up to actually capture this market? And again, when you're thinking back to Tesla, cars and humanoid robots, it does not get bigger than that. I cannot think of any other use case for AI that is bigger than those two things. I can also not think of any other company that is as far along with as much data as Tesla has. And the way that I really think about this is before Tesla even ever has fully autonomous cars out on the road, a robotaxi network, humanoid robots that are able to be sold, inevitably, the markets will realize Tesla has this opportunity ahead of it, and you will see some massive share price appreciation based on that alone. Now, when robotaxis actually start, when you actually do see deliveries, if you will, of humanoid robots, that's where you're looking at some very big fundamental upside. So I do think with Tesla, unlike other companies, you could get a little bit of FOMO optimism maybe by mid-year, end of 2024, but the fundamentals of this will really drive Tesla stock much, much higher. Like when we are seeing our robotaxi network, the EPS is going to be insane on Tesla. So Uber's gross bookings in 2022 were $115 billion. I think Uber is the best comparable to look at when you're thinking about the potential of the robotaxi service. Now, I think a robotaxi service would have much higher bookings than Uber. Like, would you rather have somebody drive you around or your car just drive you around? I know me personally, I don't exactly like the idea of getting into a random person's car, even though it is, safe. And I mean, Uber drivers are in more danger in reality than the passengers. But still, I think that is a mental hurdle that keeps a lot of people away from Uber, especially females, right? Not a lot of females are going to want to get into a car, by themselves, especially with someone else. Here's where things get kind of crazy for the potential of FSD. And again, the markets price in what could happen, the future value of what could be of a product and or service. So if you're looking at Uber's gross bookings of $115 billion in 2022, 2023 is probably going to be come in, or 2024 is probably going to come in like $140 billion or so. So we'll use around $140 billion. Now, let's say Tesla can bring in a gross margin of 60%. Okay, so let's times that by 60%. You're looking at $84 billion. Divide that by 3.3 billion shares outstanding, potentially $42 of EPS for a full year for Tesla. Now, you can get a whole hell of a lot more conservative with this if you want. Be my guest. Say $140 billion times a 20% gross margin or 25% gross margin, which used to be the gross net margin Tesla used to have. That is $35 billion. Divide that by 3.3 billion shares outstanding, and you're looking at $10.60 of a boost to Tesla's EPS. And that is just looking at where Uber is today, let alone where the robotaxi network could be in the future. So inevitably, the markets will start looking at Tesla in a very different perspective coming, I think, in the near term, given the AI kind of revolution has already started. I don't think it's going away. I don't think this is like the cannabis sector in 2017, 2018, where everyone got super excited about cannabis stocks, and then those stocks plummeted and there was never any excitement ever again about those stocks. I don't think it's one of those moments. I think AI is here to stay, and I think we're going to see cycles of different companies, different sectors seeing their AI moment. Ultimately, a lot of companies that promise AI will under-deliver in the future. I think Tesla's in an optimal position because they are really not promising anything. They're really not even saying much about AI right now. That means, look at Tesla stock. It's not priced into Tesla stock that they're going to be massively successful with AI. In all reality, the better chance is that they will be. Over 50% chance, in my personal opinion, Tesla ultimately achieves a robo-taxi network. The question really is the timing on this. And if I were to actually assign odds to this, I would say over time, there's probably a 98% chance Tesla achieves the robo-taxi network, right? 10, 20 years from now, is there going to be a robo-taxi network? I think about a 98% chance there will be. Now, whether that happens in the next 5 years, I think that's probably a 65% chance, 70% chance. If that happens in the next 10 years, that's probably an 85% plus chance. If that happens in 20 years, it's probably a 98% chance. That would probably be some of the statistics I would assign to this. So you're better than not, in my opinion, odds are going to see a robotaxi network in the next 5 years or so. Now, that is just accounting for the robotaxi network based on comparables from a ride-hailing service like Uber. And Tesla's numbers will ultimately vary. Again, the timing will vary on this, but that's only one part of AI's real-world use case story for Tesla. And that's robotaxis and FSD. The other one is humanoid robots, and the value that could be assigned there could be literally limitless. We don't know how monetization will work. Does Tesla just sell these robots for a fixed price? Does Tesla take a subscription model? Does Tesla, sell these robots for a certain amount and then collect a net, margin of essentially what the company brings in based on the robot? Does Tesla, what does Tesla do, right? There's so many different potential monetization outcomes from the humanoid robot. It's very hard to even bake that into any calculations. But based on FSD alone, Tesla stock dramatically undervalued at $199 per share. This is why I believe Tesla is probably the only real-world use case for AI that is out there on the markets today, that actually makes sense, that will actually bring in a fundamental change to companies. Microsoft's Copilot AI, is that going to fundamentally, drive Microsoft sales much higher? Probably not. I could be wrong. but probably not. Now, I also want to make it very clear, I am bullish on NVIDIA. I do not have a position in NVIDIA. I think there's a lot of high expectations in NVIDIA, but if NVIDIA does come down, I will buy NVIDIA as well. I can see a world in which AI basically powers everything, but at that point, it's probably going to be seen more as a lower multiple kind of sustainability kind of trade. If you think about it like Optimus like robot, probably going to have a GPU in it from NVIDIA. Now, that's just looking at Tesla. Tesla could sell millions of those robots. There's going to be demand for NVIDIA. I do think NVIDIA over the next 5, 10, 20 years, it makes sense where it's at right now. I see why people are excited. My point is, nobody's excited about Tesla. Nobody is even thinking remotely about AI in regards to Tesla. And again, that is Elon and the executives team's fault at Tesla. I believe they're probably doing that for a reason. I got to give him the benefit of the doubt there. They're probably doing it for a reason. Inevitably, the markets will come to realize Tesla is where you want to be invested. Tesla also has structural things that are potentially a positive as well, like a very little allocation from hedge funds and institutions in Tesla. Just, if the AI prospects start to be understandable to markets, you're probably going to see a lot of money flow into Tesla. Now, just to recap, I believe Tesla's AI endeavors will be or start to be appreciated by the markets towards the middle to end of this year, especially as we get rate cuts and the markets start to look out further and, bake in the growth that we will see. For an example, when rates are 4 to 5% on your yield curve, treasury curve, right? 4.5%, 5+% on the short-term bonds. You got 4.3% on 10-year bonds. It's hard to get money moving in our markets. It's hard to get money from the sidelines back into our markets, thus really constraining valuations. And that's what we've seen in especially the mid and lower quadrants of our markets. Small cap stocks, mid cap stocks, they haven't been really appreciated. Tesla is a great example of that as well, being down from its all-time highs so much. But I think towards the middle of this year, the end of this year, you're definitely going to see a lot more money flow into Tesla stock, and the multiple will likely expand a lot. But the biggest thing that ultimately drives stocks higher is estimates going higher. If Wall Street started to assume that by 2026 or 2027, Tesla is going to have a robotaxi network that's going to bring in $10, $20, $30, $40 of EPS for that given year, well, Tesla stock would be a lot higher than it is today. Even individuals like Gary Black believe Tesla may only have $20 of EPS coming by 2030. That might be dramatically wrong. If Tesla can actually introduce a robotaxi system by 2027, as Kathy Wood expects, Tesla could be bringing in a lot more EPS than that. And let's just, for a little bit of shits and giggles here, say, hey, Tesla by 2030 is going to bring in $30 of EPS, higher than Gary Black, but Gary Black thinks, but lower than, where like a Kathy Wood would be. So not really conservative numbers here, but not the highest, not the lowest estimates. Divide that 200, as in Tesla share price being 200, by $30 of EPS, Tesla could be trading at about 6.6 times 2030 earnings, which is egregiously cheap. Massively cheap. And if you want to say 30 is your earnings, $30 per year is your earnings by 2030, times that by maybe 75 times multiple, you could be looking at Tesla stock over $2,000 by 2030. Who knows? Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. If you guys want to come trade in the trading community with us, check out that link down below in the description of this video, or just go ahead and follow the X account. I will share a summary of this analysis as well over on the X account. That is Michael Tyler. Cost you nothing, no taxes, no fees associated with following that account. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekends, and I will see you in the next one.